Hi, welcome to Mr. Bill's Meditation for Kids. So here is the space that I often use to meditate. This was once a bedroom in my home, and I've turned it into a space that I use for a bunch of different things. There's my office, where I sometimes talk to people who are having troubles to help them out. There's the big window that I sit near when I like to make my paintings. Sometimes drawing and painting can be very much like meditation. Let me show you a little bit. Oh, there's a painting I'm working on. It's of a castle with swirly fog and air all around the castle. But over here is where I do my meditations. The first place I'd like to show you is this very comfortable old-fashioned chair. I sit in that chair because I like the handles on it. It makes a great place to put my hands when I'm meditating. I usually take off the puppy dog and sweater and the pillow, though sometimes I leave the pillow behind me because it's a little more comfortable. Sometimes I use a chair like this. An ordinary kind of kitchen chair that has a straight back. You'll notice that the kitchen chair and the old-fashioned chair both have a straight back. That's very helpful when you're meditating, because meditation is best done when you're sitting straight with good posture. Now, sometimes I'll move my door here. Sometimes I sit on the floor. That's right. I use a cushion or a pillow under my backside to prop me up just a little bit. And a little later, I'll be showing you how I use that pillow most effectively. But as you can see, it's up against the wall so that I can use the wall if I need it to keep my posture very, very straight. Otherwise, you can see the room is kind of bright. You could pull the shades in the room if you wanted, if that made you more comfortable, but I like the bright sunshine myself. So here I am in my meditation chair. You know, the one with the very straight back. It works well for me. I'm able to sit in the chair and put my feet flat on the ground. And that's how we begin. Just sitting in our chair with our feet flat on the ground. And what did we do with our hands? Well, if we were in the other chair, I might put my hands on the armrest. That's one way to sit. There's no right way or wrong way, right chair or wrong chair. Mostly, it's about how you put your body in the chair. As you can see, I'm sitting with my back up against this straight back chair. Instead of sitting like this, with my head down and my back hunched over, let me turn to the side to show you that way of sitting. See that way of sitting? That way of sitting is not going to be very helpful to my meditation. As a matter of fact, if I sit this way, I might get some sad thoughts in my head and begin to feel sad. So if I sit properly for meditation, in my straight back chair and my feet flat on the ground, and my back up against the chair, to keep my back very straight. That helps me have more energy. And energy is a good thing. What do I do with my hands when I meditate? Well, as I said, if I were sitting in an armchair, I might put one on each arm, and that's okay. When I sit in this kind of a chair, I simply put one hand in the other. I put my thumbs together like that, right at the tip, and I simply set them in my lap like this and relax. Elbows in, no special gestures. You could fold your hands or interlace your fingers if you wanted to. Anything you choose that is relaxing and comfortable for you is just fine. Now what do we do? How do we begin to meditate? Well, we can gently close our eyes. You don't have to close them all the way. Really, you don't have to close them all if you don't choose to do that. But for many people, it is helpful for them to drop their eyes. I also tend to tilt my head forward just a little bit, not a lot, not like this, not back like that or to the side. I keep my head straight, but I tilt forward just a little bit. And I gently close my eyes. I don't squeeze them tight like I'm frightened. I don't leave them open. I gently close them. And that is the beginning of meditation. I'll show you next how I sit on a cushion. One moment, I'll be right back. Now I'd like to show you how to meditate when you sit on the floor. I have here a cushion. It's just a pillow from my living room on my couch. Kind of pretty, isn't it? We want to make sure that the cushion we use doesn't squish down too easy. It should be kind of bouncy and full. The other thing is, be sure to ask the adult in the house if you might be able to use a particular cushion. We wouldn't want to be using cushions on the floor if the adult in the house disagrees with that. Here's what we do with the cushion. I'm going to lift up a little bit here, and I'm just going to slide that cushion under my bottom, just like that. Now what this does, if you, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, well, you probably can't see here, but that cushion is pretty far back. It's not under my legs as I fold my legs. And the reason we do that is it helps us to keep our back straight. Remember the straight back chair? And how important it is to keep our posture, our shoulders up, our head up, and our shoulders back. And that helps the energy in our body really flow quite freely. And that's what we would like to do. Now you don't have to sit right up against the wall if you are practicing really good posture. But if you're a beginner, sometimes it helps to have that wall behind you to encourage you to sit straight, and your head and your spine all in one line. And that will improve your energy flow, and it will help your meditation. As you can see, I'm sitting crisscross applesauce. It's the most comfortable way for me. Now there are other ways of sitting. Some people sit with their legs straight out or one leg under. It really doesn't matter. What matters is, are you comfortable? And is your back nice and straight? Because remember, that will help your meditation. So I'm going to sit crisscross applesauce here in my meditation spot. And what do I do with my hands? Remember, if I had the chair right here, I might put them there. Or in the other chair I used, I simply put one hand in the other, touched my thumb tips together, and set my hands in my lap. Just like that, with elbows in. Now nice and comfortable I am. It doesn't matter what you do with your hands. This is how I'm most comfortable, and it helps my meditation. You might choose to put your hands on your knees. Or as I said before, you might choose to interlace your hands like this and set them in your lap. Whatever makes you most comfortable. Now you might have seen in some cartoons or cartoon movies or other people demonstrating what is, they hold their hands like this and up in the air, and they say Om. Well, you know, that's not really how that's done. This gesture is called the mudra. I'll put it against the wall there, but see how you can see that? It's kind of like the OK sign. Sometimes a mudra is done like an OK sign, but sometimes the mudra is the middle finger and the thumb put together. And then there are various other mudras as well. It's important to understand that these hand gestures are from a different country. They come out of India and Asia, where people meditate in India and Asia. And these hand gestures have specific meanings for those people in that culture. It's fine if you would like to use the mudra. It's simply putting your hands palm up. And that could be your mudra, or you could choose to put your finger and thumb together. That would be up to you. But the mudra is never used up in the air going Om. We have to be very respectful of other people's cultures. And so we wouldn't want to be insulting to our neighbors and our friends who are from India or are from Asia. There's no magic in the mudra. It's just a way of holding your hands while you meditate. And I choose my personal mudra by putting one hand in the other and lightly touching my thumb tips together and setting them in my lap. Now let's try a few moments of meditation. My back is straight, my cushion is under the back of my bottom, my hands are in my lap, my back is nice and straight, and I'm going to tip my head forward just a little bit like it did before in the chair, and lightly close my eyes. What we will add this time is the breathing. Breathing, yes, I know you're breathing, you know you're breathing. But let's pay attention to our breathing. When I meditate, I keep my mouth closed and I breathe in and out of my nose. Nothing fancy, just breathing in and out of my nose. That's all there is to it with my mouth closed. So let's take a moment and meditate together in this seat on the floor. Are you ready? Here we go. There, how was that? What were you thinking? What was I thinking? Well, we're going to share that in the next lesson that we have in meditation, is to take a look at what's going on in our mind. We've discussed what we do with our body, but what goes on in our mind, that's a big part of meditation. And the next time, in our next lesson, I'll be sharing a bit of that. Thanks for joining me today. Bye now.